what our goal was, we got basically 3 different groupings of double-day workouts where we go like a normal Tuesday, Wednesday during the course of the week. This was our second one. We'll get another good practice tomorrow. We'll give them Wednesday off. I'm sorry, Tuesday off. Then we'll come back Wednesday, Thursday, and then take off on Saturday for Pasadena. So thought the guys snapped in. Health-wise, we got everybody back. Anybody that wasn't involved in the test was out practicing today, so we're at 100% full strength with everybody else. With that, open up questions.
A lot of focus is on their defense, obviously, because they're so good. But do you think offensively, are they as good as any offense you've seen?
Well, yeah, especially what they do. You know, there is a lot of different formations, a lot of shifts. Very creative. I think there are. You can see offensively, they get people in predicaments in every game that they've schemed them for. So, you know, the challenge that we'll have is obviously we'll get something thrown at us that we haven't seen on film, and that I can guarantee that's going to happen. And we just got to be able to adjust in the game. The good thing for us is there's been several games where we've kind of been taken out of our game plan because of either injuries or because of the flow of the game, and the guys have handled it well.
Dalton, their quarterback, has put up some good numbers, but sometimes he has a tendency to throw some picks. Has it been a result of pressure, or maybe just some things that he hasn't seen?
There's 2 that I know were tip balls. You know that you know, when you look at the stats, they show up. But he's definitely the guy that makes them go. He's the guy that makes all the decisions. You see him put things in at the line of scrimmage. You see him make adjustments. You know, very poised. You can tell he's a seasoned quarterback, and he makes very few mistakes.
How good is their return guy, Curley?
Very good. Might be the best that we've seen. I think he, you know, they've got 3 or 4 guys at their positions respectively are as good as there is. Their left tackle, their center, their corner, their safety, and their return guy. I mean, it's all guys that have played at a high level.
Is that the Colorado State, that punt return? Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Have you seen a better
several
punt
times.
return than that?
No. You know, the thing that you see with which he has a great returner is they almost see like they can see the field before it begins to happen. They can feel coverage and break to a certain part that I think is, you know, a gift that's just given to them.
You've told the story about your Rose Bowl ring, but as far as playing in the Rose Bowl itself, what stands out from that whole experience as a player?
Well, just the aura of the field and you know, to know a little bit of a history. One thing we've tried to do is educate our players on how many special players and special teams have played on that field, and to have the opportunity to be a part of that and be able to run out there is unique to them. And you know, the part that is getting lost in this whole thing is it's a non-traditional matchup in a traditional bowl game, and the reason they're there is because they have an undefeated season. That's what's put them in that position, and it's nothing to take lightly.
Did you guys feel like you let the Big Ten down, not winning in that game?
You know what? I didn't feel those same things back then. You know, you were just, I guess it's part of being naive and young, where my guys are at too, is there wasn't a big emphasis back then on playing for the conference. I think it was more of an opportunity to be there and represent a season that we'd had, and we'd done a lot of good things to get to that point. But I don't remember that feeling, but again, I don't think there was such a scrutiny as there is today.
A couple of guys who have been battling injuries, like a Muldoon and Taylor. I know one game left for both of them, but next year, kind of projecting ahead, how big of a jump can those guys take?
Well, I think Pat in particular, he's. I just walked up to him today, and you know, he's probably looked as good as he's looked the last 2 weeks. Some of those developmental practices, just the burst, you know, getting healthy and playing full speed. And then Mike Taylor, I think, just really since he came back, has gotten healthier every week, and you realize how special he is. And you know, I'd be the first to admit, you know, there's not times where you got a group of guys out there like today. Any senior that walked in graduation wasn't out here to today's practice. And you look at what you have coming back, and defensively, that's very exciting to see all the guys up front. Obviously, JJ's an independent case, but you know, to have that linebacker core and to have the DBs returning without Jay and Niles, but neither one of those guys were today, so it was kind of a glimpse into next year's future.
Speaking of Niles and Finellis, in your opinion, where do you think they made the most strides this year?
Probably 2 different scenarios. I think Niles has always had it, and he's just played so consistent this year that that separated his play, I think, in every game you can go to. And, you know, there might be a play or 2 through the whole season, but he's very, very consistent in the way he approaches things. And Antonio, you know, he's just a determined kid. He's got, as we all know, he's a great competitor, but he, you know, probably throughout the course of the season, just had that mentality every snap, nothing's getting by me, and he played that way from the first snap to the last.
You mentioned your 3 tailbacks some time ago about watching tape together, sitting at the dinner table together. That's not easy to do when there's only one football, and I know they've all had success, so that's probably helped, but what's been the key for them not sulking or worrying about playing time?
I grabbed set, you know, and actually before the year started, I gave all the coaches an area to talk about. I gave Bob Bostad why he loves being an O-line coach. I gave the coordinators assignments, and I gave Set the topic of coaching the running backs in a group that usually might be prima donnas and being able to keep them all. So before the season even started, before any of this three-headed monster started going forward, I knew that we were going to have a special group that needed to be together all the time. And Set talked about, managing personalities, being able to take pride as a group, and I thought he's really done a nice job of doing that, which formulates into what you're seeing today and kind of forcing that bond that those three guys have.
How much does a freshman like White get credit, though? Because if you look at his numbers, he could be kind of strutting.
Absolutely.
But if you talk to him, he looks like a freshman who defers.
Yeah, again, I think it's the type of kids we recruit. I really do. From coaches that I bring into this program, the coaches that visit, the people that come in and spend time with our kids, they always talk about the character, and I think James White's another example of what you're saying could happen, but because he's so well-grounded, I guarantee if he got the big head, I know who I could call. Tyrone White will get him in a level head in a heartbeat. So I think that's the part that became very apparent to us.
Obviously, throughout the season, you guys were a pretty focused team within practice and then showed on game days. Have you liked that so far in bowl prep, especially when you had some guys getting awards and stuff that weren't here?
Yes, I'd go back to last Tuesday and Wednesday. To me, that was like the Tuesday and Wednesday we're getting ready to play TCU, and they were snapped in and focused. Everybody was here. I think it's tough, a day like today when you're missing 7 or 8 seniors, and that chemistry is going to get thrown off a little bit. But I think this point moving forward, we'll get more guys back in tomorrow's practice, and then the next 2 days on Wednesday and Thursday, we shouldn't be missing anybody. And I really believe this group will focus in. The thing I've asked them to do is really talk about what they're doing away from the football field, because now guys might be done with classes, they might be, trying to sneak in a trip home before Christmas or whatever, and that's the part I asked them to really focus on.
You mentioned some of the defensive linemen you'll have come back. The kid, Travis Frederick, who hasn't played all year, you mentioned the other day that he's learned some things, charting plays and things like that. Looking ahead, what can he contribute?
Well, I think Travis is strong. He's physical. He's a guy that is pretty serious in what he does, and if he can do what I think he's capable of doing, I mean, he could be as good a guard as we've had, strength-wise and ability. He's just got to snap in all the things around him that's going on, and he's a pretty serious kid. So I'm excited to watch him play. He plays with a little edge to him. I've had to have a couple conversations just when we're going good about the type of demeanor that he shows on the football field. Because it's one thing if you're playing against somebody else, but to play against your own guys, you got to watch out.
You mentioned the running backs again. There's going to be a long layoff between the last regular season game and the bowl game. Do you worry about, if John's the best guy, going back and tinker with something that's been working, or do you care about that because of the layoff?
Well, we scrimmaged on whatever our last practice was. Was that last Wednesday? We scrimmaged the last half of practice, and for that reason, I want guys getting hit, see where they're at, and moving themselves forward. We'll probably do that one more time, either tomorrow or the first day on Wednesday, just a short. Let everybody get used to being tackled and running through. But John's got to show me between now and the game or the game week that he is consistent in what he's doing. And if that happens, then we'll get a game plan for him to move forward. But right now, James and Monty have shown that they're staying right with where they're at, and John has flashes at times. He's just got to be more consistent.
Have you noticed any antsiness about them just wanting to get out of here and get to LA?
You know what? We were on the road last week recruiting towards the end of the week, so I haven't been around them as much. I do think that they are feeling the anticipation, especially because we're less than 2 weeks out. But a lot of that won't begin to happen until they're actually on that plane moving forward, because they got a million things going on right now.
Are you surprised at all the way Monty has been able to produce, given the bumpy start he had earlier this year?
Yeah, it's a testament to Monty. What we do offensively allows a player at his position to have success, but the patience that he had, especially when things weren't going his way, and the resolve that he had to come into some of those games the way he did, and just really, I think even as the games wore down in the season, he got better every game. There's a lot of our guys did that, but you could literally see him read each play, read the blocks, define where he was going, and to me, he got better every game.